I would like to present to you some of Jonathan Edwards' thoughts based on his writings and those of his contemporaries of the time. The textbook readings this week mentioned Isaac Newton and Thomas Jefferson as fellow contemporaries of Edwards, and so I focused my research on comparing these three scholars. Living 200 years ago, many speculate Edwards to be intellectually the most modern man of his age. He is still considered an authority figure in theological philosophies today. Much of his philosophy spent significant time and energy theorizing about the Godhead Trinity and supporting Calvinistic views on salvation. He worked to further develop these understandings in a way that was compatible with the time. During the Enlightenment, people desired to logically lay out their beliefs and think through truth tangibly. Jonathan Edwards addressed the ontological as well as epistemological questions of his day. Edwards seemed to find peace over the ontological questions that his contemporary Isaac Newton left unsettled. Marsden comments that apocalyptic discussion was rather common for prominent scholars of the day, that Newton and Edwards were both anti-papists who predicted God's victory over the papacy or the Antichrist. Marsden states the possibility of the two scholars, Newton and Edwards, sitting down at the same time in different places in 1723, attempting to decipher through the prophecies of Revelation in regards to the current events of the day. Edwards' writings, such as The Mind, reflect Locke's influence. He worked on his miscellaneous or rational account in hopes of producing an apologetic work in defense of Christianity. Besides that, his notes on the apocalypse contained 35 years' worth of his personal interpretations of Revelation. His notes on a scripture commented on a wide range of biblical truths. Born 40 years after Edwards, Jefferson was a highly opinionated deist who believed in a divine being, but was incredibly skeptical of Jesus and Christians. He totally rejected Calvinistic approaches in particular. He elevated Greek philosophy over teachings of Jesus Christ until later on when he realized that the ancient Greek moral system was not sufficient to sustain public virtue, end quote. After reading Joseph Priestley's A History of the Corruptions of Christianity, he became more open-minded toward the good of Jesus' teachings and mission. As a result, he deciphered through passages of Scripture he thought were true and which were false, creating the Jefferson Bible. Jefferson worked to protect freedom of religion in America and ultimately believed that Christianity had an expiration date and that Unitarianism would soon replace it in the United States. Edwards viewed deism as an enemy of Christianity and often took pains to refute deist attacks on the faith. Edwards valued reason and logic just as dearly as Jefferson, with the exception that human reason is flawed and with many limitations. Logic cannot restore a sinner to salvation, nor prove that God desired to forgive sinners. Quote, nature reveals God, but humans have not come to know the true God through nature. Edwards believed that logic, apart from acceptance of Jesus' redemption, lacked the supernatural components to make sense of God. Despite Jefferson's belief in a creator and parts of Jesus' teachings, his opponents framed him as an atheist when he ran for presidency. Soon all would discover that Jefferson did believe that people were endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. End quote. According to Porterfield, evangelicals failed to see Jefferson's moral commitment to a hard-working, educated citizenry, and Jefferson failed to appreciate evangelical religion as a means of promoting industry and civil virtue. Thank you.